everybody, and welcome back to the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge. This will be our final round for the 2024. Next week, it's getting a little close to the holidays. I'm going to be away, and I imagine a lot of our partners will be. And then after that, we'll just wait till the new year to do our next one, and possibly make some talk about possible changes for the new year. But otherwise, we're been a good year this one, and I'm here with Sheila, John, Robert, Maggie, and Henry to do our final round for the year of impromptu performances of the works of Shakespeare chosen randomly by the Wheel of Shakespeare, which we will reveal right here. And there it is. Okay, and based on our randomly chosen order, our first monologue for today will be done by John, and then Henry is on deck. Henry will go after John performs. Henry the Fourth, Part 2.
Part 2. Okay.
Prologue.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Open your ears, for which of you will stop the vent of hearing when loud rumor speaks? I, from the Orient to the drooping West, making the wind my post horse, still unfold the acts commenced on this ball of earth. Upon my tongue's continual slanders ride, the which in every language I pronounce, stuffing the ears of men with false reports. I speak of peace while covert enmity under the smile of safety wounds the world. And who but rumor, who but only I, make fearful musters and prepared defense, whilst the big year, swollen with some other grief, is thought with child by the stern tyrant war, and no such matter. I lost my place. Rumor is a pipe blown by surmises, jealousies, conjectures, and of so easy and so plain a stop that the blunt monster with uncounted heads, the still discordant wavering multitude can play upon it. But what need I thus my well-known body to anatomize among my household? Why is rumor here? I run before King Harry's victory, who in a bloody field of Shrewsbury hath beaten down young Hotspur and his troops, quenching the flame of bold rebellion even with the rebels' blood. But what mean I to speak so true at first? My office is to noise abroad that Harry Monmouth fell under the wrath of noble Hotspur's sword, and that the king before the Douglas raid stooped his anointed head as low as death. This have I rumored through the peasant towns between the royal field of Shrewsbury and this worm-eaten hold of ragged stone, where Hotspur's father, old Northumberland, lies crafty sick. The posts come tiring on, and not a man of them brings other news than they have heard learnt of me. From rumor's tongues they bring smooth comforts false, worse than true wrongs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John. Very nice. So it is now Henry's turn, and then I am on deck. I'll go after Henry does. Mowbray, Richard II Richard II, the first scene. Mowbray begins, then Bolingbroke, as low as thy heart thou liest. So whenever you're ready.
How does it start? Let not my cold words.
No, then Bolingbroke, as low as to thy heart.
Oh, okay, got it. Then, Bolingbroke, as low as to thy heart, through the fourth passage of thy throat thou liest. 3 parts of that receipt I had for Calais dispersed I duly to his highness' soldiers. The other part reserved I by consent, for that my sovereign liege was in my debt upon remainder of a dear account, since last I went to France to fetch his queen. Now swallow down that lie. For Gloucester's death I slew him not, but to my own disgrace neglected my sworn duty in that case. For you, my noble Lord of Lancaster, the honourable father to my foe, once did I lay an ambush for your life, a trespass that did vex my grieved soul, but ere I last received the sacrament I did confess it, and exactly begged your grace's pardon, and I hope I had it. This is my fault. As for the rest appealed, it issues from the rancour of a villain, a recreant and most degenerate traitor, which in myself I boldly will defend, and interchangeably hurl down my gage upon this overweening traitor's foot, to prove myself a loyal gentleman, even in the best blood chambered in his bosom. In haste whereof, most heartily I pray your highness to assign our trial day. End of scene.
Okay, thank you, Henry. So it is now my turn, and then Robert, you are on deck. You will go after I do. Very well. I have to do this one off quick, but I'm going to open it up just in case. Played the role on stage twice. Holy St. Francis! What a change is here! Is Rosaline, whom thou didst love so dear, so soon forsaken? Young men's love then lies not truly in their hearts, but in their eyes. Jesu Maria, what a deal of brine hath washed thy sallow cheeks for Rosaline! How much salt water thrown away in waste to season love that of it doth not taste! The sun not yet thy sighs from heaven clears, thy old groans ring yet in my ancient ears. Lo, here upon thy cheek the stain doth sit of an old tear that is not washed off yet. There thou wast thyself, and these woes thine. Thou and these woes were all for Rosaline. And art thou changed? Pronounce this sentence then. Women may fall when there's no strength in men. That's a short but sweet one. That's always fun. Okay, Robert, you're up. And Sheila is on deck. Robert is going to do... Queen Catherine, for I desire This is from Henry VIII, Act 3, Scene 4 at Catherine of Aragon's trial.
Okay. Henry VIII. Two, 4. Okay.
I believe it starts with Sir, I desire. So whenever you're...
Sir, I desire you do me right and justice, that speech. Okay. Sir, I desire you do me right and justice, and to bestow your pity on me, for I am a most poor woman and the stranger born out of your dominions, having here no judge indifferent, nor no more assurance of equal friendship and proceeding. Alas, sir, in what have I offended you? What cause hath my behavior given to your displeasure that thus you should proceed to put me off and take your good grace from me? Heaven witness, I have been to you a true and humble wife, at all times to your will conformable, ever in fear to kindle your dislike, yea, subject to your countenance, glad or sorry as I saw it incline. When was the hour I ever contradicted your desire, or made it not mine too? Of which of your friends have I not strove to love, though I knew he were mine enemy? What friend of mine that had to him derived your anger did I continue in my liking? Nay, give notice he was from thence discharged. Sir, call to mind that I have been your wife in this obedience upward of 20 years, and have been blessed with many children by you. If in the course and process of this time you can report and prove it too against mine honor aught, my bond to wedlock, or my love and duty against your sacred person, in God's name, turn me away, and let the foulest contempt shut door upon me, and so give me up to the sharpest kind of justice. Please you, sir. The king, your father, was reputed for a prince most prudent, of an excellent and unmatched wit and judgment. Ferdinand, my father, king of Spain, was reckoned one of the wisest prince that there had reigned by many a year before. It is not to be questioned that they had gathered a wise council to them of every realm that did debate this business, who deemed our marriage lawful. Wherefore, I humbly beseech you, sir, to spare me, till I may be by my friends in Spain advised, whose counsel I implore. If not, in the name of God, your pleasure be fulfilled. Scene.
Okay, thank you, Robert. So now we have Shelia and then Maggie, and then we'll spin. Oh, and Bill just joined us. So we'll have Shelia, then Bill, then Maggie. Okay, Shelia, you will be doing. The Ghost. Now that incestuous beast. We'll start from there.
Got it.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Ay, that incestuous, that adulterate beast, with witchcraft of his wit, with traitorous gifts, oh, wicked wit and gifts that have the power so to seduce one to his shameful lust, the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. Oh, Hamlet, what a falling off was there from me, whose love was of that dignity that it went hand in hand even with the vow I made to her in marriage, and a decline upon a wretch whose natural gifts were poor to those of mine. But virtue, as it never will be moved, though lewdness court it in a shape of heaven, so lust, though to a radiant angel linked, will sate itself in a celestial bed and prey on garbage. It's soft. Methinks I scent the morning air. Brief let me be, sleeping within my orchard, my custom always of the afternoon, upon my secure hour, thy uncle stole with juice of cursed Hebanon in a vial, and in the porches of my ears did pour the leprous distilment, whose effect holds such an enmity with blood of man that swift as quicksilver it courses through the natural gates and alleys of the body, and with a sudden vigor doth posset and curd like an eager droppings into milk, the thin wholesome blood. So did it mine. And a most instant tetter barked about, most laser-like with vile and loathsome crust all my smooth body. Thus was I, sleeping by a brother's hand, of life, of crown, of queen, at once dispatched, cut off even in the blossoms of my sin, unhouselled, disappointed, unannaled, no reckoning made, but sent to my account with all my imperfections on my head. Oh, horrible, horrible, most horrible. If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. Let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch for luxury and damned incest. But howsoever thou pursuest this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge to prick and sting her. Fare thee well. At once the glowworm shows the matin to be near, and begins to pale his ineffectual fire. Adieu, adieu, Hamlet. Remember me.
Okay, great. So we'll now, so Bill. So we have Bill and Maggie, and then the spin for scenes. Bill, glad you made it. Better late than never.
Thanks.
Good. Spinning for Bill. Upon the king. Henry V, Act 4, Scene 1. So whenever you're ready, go.
I'm looking for Upon the King. Oh, I found it. Okay. All right. Upon the king, let us our lives, our souls, our debts, our careful wives, our children, and our sins lay on the king. We must bear all, oh, hard condition, twin born with greatness, subject to the breath of every fool, whose sense no more can feel but his own ringing. What infinite heart's ease must kings neglect that private men enjoy? And what have kings that privates have not too, save ceremony, save general ceremony? And what art thou, thou idle ceremony? What kind of God art thou that sufferest more of mortal griefs than do thy worshippers? What are thy rents? What are thy comings in? O ceremony, show me but thy worth. What is thy soul of adoration? Art thou aught else but place, degree, and form, creating awe and fear in other men? Wherein thou art less happy being feared than they in fearing? What drinkst thou off instead of homage sweet, but poison flattery? Oh, be sick, greatness, and bid thy ceremony give thee cure. Thinkest thou the fiery fever will go out with titles blown from adulation? Will it give place to flexure and low bending? Canst thou, when thou commandest the beggar's knee, command the health of it? No, thou proud dream that played so subtly with the king's repose. I am a king that find thee, and I know 'tis not the bomb, the scepter, and the ball, the sword, the mace, the crown imperial, the intertissued robe of gold and pearl, the farce title running for the king, the throne he sits on, nor the tide of pomp that beats upon the high shore of this world. No, not all these thrice gorgeous ceremony. Not all these, laid in bed majestical, can sleep so soundly as the wretched slave, who with a body filled and vacant mind gets him to rest, crammed with distressful bread, never sees horrid night, the child of hell, but like a lackey from the rise to set, sweats in the eye of Phoebus, and all the night sleeps in Elysium. Next day, after dawn, doth rise and help Hyperion to his horse, and follows so the ever-running year, with profitable labor to his grave. And, but for ceremony, such a wretch, winding up days with toil and nights with sleep, had the forehand and vantage of a king. The slave, a member of the country's peace, enjoys it, but engrossed brain little watch what watch the king keeps to maintain the peace, whose hours the peasant best advantages. Scene.
Great. Thanks, Bill. So our last monologue before we spin for scenes will be done by Maggie, who is going to do... King Henry IV, his opening monologue of Henry IV part.
Okay.
We spun the opening monologue for King Henry the Fourth Part 1 and Part 2 today.
So this is Part 1, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Scene 1, the palace. Okay.
Okay, whenever you're...
Alrighty. So shaken as we are, so wan with care, find we a time for frighted peace to pant, and breathe short-winded accents of new broils to be commenced in strands afar remote. No more the thirsty entrance of this soil shall daub her lips with her own children's blood. Nor more shall trenching war channel her fields, nor bruise her flowerets with the armed hoofs of hostile paces. Those opposed eyes, which, like the meteors of a troubled heaven, all of one nature, of one substance bred, did lately meet in the intestine shock and furious close of civil butchery, shall now, in mutual well-beseeming ranks, march all one way, and be no more opposed against acquaintance, kindred, and allies. The edge of war, like an ill-sheathed knife, no more shall cut his master. Therefore, friends, as far as to the sepulchre of Christ, whose soldier now, under whose blessed cross we are impressed and engaged to fight, forthwith a power of English shall we levy, whose arms were molded in their mother's womb to chase these pagans in those holy fields over whose acres walked those blessed feet which 1400 years ago were nailed for our advantage on the bitter cross. But this our purpose now is 12-month old, and bootless is to tell you we will go. Therefore we meet not now. Then let me hear of you, my gentle cousin Westmoreland, what yesternight our council did decree in forwarding this dear expedience. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Maggie. So now for our scenes, we got a good turnout today, which is good. I haven't used it. I have one wheel where I have scenes with just two or three characters, and we haven't used the wheel in a long time. The separate one that has scenes for 4 or more characters. So let's use that one today, since we got a decent turnout, and if depending, see how many roles are on in whatever scene comes up, and then we'll go back to the wheel with shorter smaller cast scenes, or however many roles we still need to assign to our players. Let's see. So the larger scene will be, let's see, all's well that ends well. That's the opening scene. So the opening scene of All's Well That Ends Well has the Countess, Helena, LeFew, Parolas, and Bertram. And I think there's a page, which is this tiny role, so we'll cut that one out. We'll just cut the lines where the page says a few things. So the 5 roles there: the Countess, Helena, LeFew, Parolas, Bertram. That's 5. So that works out perfectly. So let's go to the wheel with the shorter scenes. And so we need 2 more roles for the 7 of us. So All's Well opening scene with those 5 roles, and then Julia, I think we just did this one. Yeah, I'm gonna Juliet and the Nurse we just did last week. So that should have been taken off the wheel. I'm spinning again. Getting Romeo and Juliet again. Let's see. Oh, I think there's a different Juliet and Nurse scene, but we'll just get off that because we got. That's a little repetitive. Okay, so the 2 gentlemen. That's Act 3, Scene 1. The Duke and Valent. This is where he catches him about to run away with his daughter. Okay, so the 7 roles for the 7 of us then are, and again we'll choose them in the order that we perform. All's Well, Countess, Helena, LeFew, Parolas, Bertram, then the Duke and Valentine in 2 Gentlemen, Act 3, Scene 1. So John is our first turn. What would you like, John?
The Duke.
The Duke. Okay, John is going to be the Duke, and all's well. Henry, what would you like?
I've no idea. Uh, Helena.
I'm sorry?
Helena, please.
Helena. So John's going to be Helena. I will take, I think I'll take Parolles. I get to be I think that if I remember that scene correctly, I get to be a real jerk in that scene. So, which will be fun. Robert.
I'll take Valentine.
Robert will be Valentine. Shelia.
I will do the Countess.
Shelia will be the Countess. And Bill, we have LeFew, we have LeFew or Bertram at this point. Bill, you're muted. We can't.
Sorry about that. I didn't notice. Bertram.
Okay, so Bill will be Bertram, and that leaves Maggie to be LeFew. Okay, so let's add everybody there.
Right.
What about the Duke?
John took the Duke.
John took
okay.
the Duke.
Sorry, God, I missed
LeFew
that.
is just a few lines, basically. It's almost as small as the other, as the messenger. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. So John and Robert are the only ones that should not be in this. So we have 5 of us for the all.
Which
Just fucking listen.
which Act 1, Scene 1. Right, also, okay.
Yeah, we just start. So it starts with the Countess, Bertram, and LeFew. Okay. So when so the Countess is Celia, so start us off.
Okay. In delivering my son from me, I bury a second husband.
And I, in going, madam, we bore my father's death anew. But I must attend his majesty's command, to whom I am now in ward, evermore in subjection.
You shall find of the king a husband, madam. You, sir, a father. He that so generally is at all times good must of necessity hold his virtue to you, whose worthiness would stir it up where it wanted rather than lack it where there is such abundance.
What hope is there of his majesty's amendment?
He hath abandoned his physicians, madam, under whose practices he hath persecuted time with hope, and finds no other advantage in the process but only the losing of hope by time.
This young gentlewoman had a father. Oh, that had. How sad a passage 'tis. Whose skill was almost as great as his honesty. Had it stretched so far, would have made nature immortal, and death should have play for lack of work. Would for the king's sake he were living. I think it would be the death of the king's disease.
How called you the man you speak of, madam?
He was famous, sir, in his profession, and it was his great right to be so. Gerard de Narbon.
Oh, he was excellent indeed, madam. The king very lately spoke of him admiringly and mourningly. He was skillful enough to have lived still, if knowledge could be set up against mortality.
What is it, my good lord, the king languishes of?
A fistula, my lord.
I heard none of it before.
I would it were not notorious. Was this gentlewoman the daughter of Gerard de Narbon?
His sole child, my lord, and bequeathed to my overlooking. I have those hopes of her good that her education promises. Her dispositions she inherits, which make fair gifts fairer. For where an unclean mind carries virtuous qualities, there commendations go with pity. They are virtues and traitors too. In her they are the better for their simpleness. She derives her honesty and achieves her goodness.
Your commendations, madam, get from her tears.
'Tis the best brine a maiden can season her praise in. The remembrance of her father never approaches her heart, but the tyranny of her sorrows takes all livelihood from her cheek. Oh, no more of this, Helena, go to no more, lest it be rather thought you affect to sorrow than have it.
I do affect a sorrow indeed, but I have it too.
Moderate lamentation is the right of the dead, excessive grief the enemy to the living.
If the living be enemy to the grief, the excess makes it soon mortal.
Madam, I desire your holy wishes.
How understand we that?
Be thou blessed, Bertram, and succeed thy father in manners as in shape. Thy blood and virtue contend for empire in thee, and thy goodness share with thy birthright. Love all, trust a few, do wrong to none. Be able for thine enemy rather in power than use, and keep thy friend under thine own life's key. Be checked for silence, but never taxed for speech. What heaven more will, that thee may furnish, and my prayers pluck down fall on thy head. Farewell, my lord, 'tis an unseasoned courtier. Good my lord, advise him.
He cannot want the best that shall attend his love.
Heaven bless him. Farewell, Bertram.
The best wishes that can be forged in your thoughts be servants to you. Be comfortable to my mother, your mistress, and make much of her.
Farewell, pretty lady. You must hold the credit of your father.
Oh, were that all? I think not on my father, and these great tears grace his remembrance more than those I shed for him. What was he like? I have forgot him. My imagination carries no favour in it but Bertram. I am undone. There is no living, none, if Bertram be away. 'Twere all one that I should love a bright particular star, and think to wed it, he is so above me. In his bright radiance and collateral light must I be comforted, not in his sphere. The ambition in my love thus plagues itself. The hind that would be mated by the lion must die for love. 'Twas pretty, though plague, to see him
Duke
every
starts
hour.
off as if he is being complimentary.
To sit and draw his arched brows, his hawking eye, his curls, in our heart's table, heart too capable of every line and trick of his sweet favour. But now he's gone, and my idolatrous fancy must sanctify his relics. Ah, who comes here? One that goes with him. I love him for his sake. And yet I know him a notorious liar, think him a great way fool, solely a coward. Yet these fixed evils sit so fit in him that they take place when virtue's steely bones look bleak i' the cold wind. Withal, full oft we see cold wisdom waiting on superfluous folly.
Save you, fair queen.
And you, monarch,
No.
and no,
Are you meditating on virginity?
aye, you have some stain of soldier in you. Let me ask you a question. Man is enemy to virginity. How may we barricado against him?
Keep him out.
But he assailed, and our virginity, though valiant in the defence, yet is weak. Unfold to us some warlike resistance.
There is none. Man sitting down before you will undermine you and blow you up.
Bless our poor virginity from underminers and blowers up. Is there no military policy how virgins might blow up men?
Virginity being blown down, man will quicklier be blown up. Mary, in blowing him down again with the breach yourselves made, you lose your city. It is not politic in the commonwealth of nature to preserve virginity. Loss of virginity is rational increase, and there was never virgin got till virgin was first lost. That you were made of his metal to make his virgins, virginity being once lost may be 10 times found, by being ever kept it is ever lost. 'Tis Too cold a companion. Away with it!
I will stand for it a little, though therefore I die a virgin.
There's little can be said't. 'Tis against the rule of nature. To speak on the part of virginity is to accuse your mothers, which is most infallible disobedience. He that hangs himself is a virgin. Virginity murders itself and should be buried in highways out of all sanctified limit, as a desperate offendress against nature. Virginity breeds mites, much like cheese consumes itself to the very paring, and so dies with feeding his own stomach. Besides, virginity is peevish, proud, idle, made of self-love, which is the most inhibited sin in the canon. Keep it not. You cannot choose but lose by it. Out with it. Within 10 years it will make itself 10, which is a goodly increase, and the principle itself not much the worse. Away with it!
How might one do, sir, to lose it to her own liking?
Let me see. Marry ill to like him that ne'er it likes. 'Tis a commodity will lose the gloss with lying. The longer kept, the less worth. Off with it! Well, it is venerable. Answer the time of request. Virginity, like an old courtier, wears her cap out of fashion, richly suited but unsuitable, just like the brooch and the toothpick, which wear not now. Your date is better in your pie and your porridge than your cheek. And your virginity, your old virginity, is like one of our French weathered pears. It looks ill, it eats dryly. Marry, 'tis a withered pear. It was formerly better. Marry, yet 'tis a weathered pear. Will you anything with it?
Not my virginity yet. There shall your master have 1,000 loves, a mother and a mistress and a friend, a phoenix, captain and an enemy, a guide, a goddess and a sovereign, a counsellor, a traitress and a dear. His humble ambition, proud humility, his jarring concord and his discord dulcet, his faith, his sweet disaster, with a world of pretty, fond, adoptious Christendoms that blinking Cupid gossips. Now shall he, I know not what he shall. God send him well. The court's a learning place, and he is one.
What one in faith?
That I wish well. 'Tis pity.
What's pity?
That wishing well had not a body in it, which might be felt, that we, the poorer born, whose baser stars do shut us up in wishes, might with effects of them follow our friends and show what we alone must think, which never return us thanks.
Little Helen, farewell. If I can remember thee, I will think of thee at court.
Monsieur Parolles, you were born under a charitable star.
Under Mars, I
especially think under Mars.
Why under Mars?
The wars have so kept you under that you must needs be born under Mars.
When he was predominant.
When he was retrograde, I think, rather.
Why think you so?
You go so much backward when you fight.
That's for advantage.
Well, so is running away when fear proposes the safety. But the composition that your valour and fear makes in you is a virtue of good wing, and I like the wear well.
I am so full of business I cannot answer thee acutely. I will return perfect courtier, in the which my instruction shall serve to naturalize thee, so thou wilt be capable of a courtier's counsel, and understand what advice shall thrust upon thee, else thou diest in thine own unthankfulness. And thine ignorance makes thee away. Farewell. When thou hast leisure, say thy prayers. When thou hast none, remember thy friends. Get thee a good husband, and use him as he uses thee. So farewell.
Our remedies oft in ourselves do lie, which we ascribe to heaven. The fated sky gives us free scope, only doth backward pull our slow designs when we ourselves are dull. What power is it which mounts my love so high, that makes me see and cannot feed mine eye? The mightiest space in fortune nature brings to join like likes and kiss like native things. Impossible be strange attempts to those that weigh their plans in sense and do suppose what hath been cannot be. Whoever strove, so show her merit, that did miss her love. The king's disease, my project may deceive me, but my intents are fixed and will not leave me.
Okay, great. Okay, great. That was a fun one. Now we'll finish up our round with two gentlemen of Verona, the Duke and Valentine. That's John and Robert are going to be doing that one for you guys. So whenever you two are ready.
Let's see. I had it here. Let me ask first, is it Valentine or Valentine? How do you pronounce that, please? Can you hear me?
I believe
Let's make it Valentine.
Valentine?
Valentine. Let's make it Valentine.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Sir Valentine, whither away so fast?
Please, at your grace, there is a messenger that stays to bear my letters to my friends, and I am going to deliver them.
Be they of much import?
The tenor of them doth but signify my health and happy being at your court.
Nay then, no matter, stay with me a while. I am to break with thee of some affairs that touch me near, wherein thou must be secret. 'Tis not unknown to thee that I have sought to match my friend Sir Thurio to my daughter.
I know it well, my lord, and sure the match were rich and honorable. Besides, the gentleman is full of virtue, bounty, worth, and qualities beseeming such a wife as your fair daughter. Cannot your grace win her to fancy him?
No, trust me. She is peevish, sullen, froward, proud, disobedient, stubborn, lacking duty, neither regarding that she is my child, not fearing me as if I were her father. And may I say to thee, this pride of hers upon advice hath drawn my love from her. And where I thought the remnant of mine age should have been so cherished by a childlike duty, I am now full resolved to take a wife and turn her out to who will take her in. Then let her beauty be her wedding dower, for me and my possessions she esteems not.
What would your grace have me to do in this?
There is a lady in Verona here whom I affect, but she is nice and coy, and naught esteems my aged eloquence. Now, therefore, would I have thee to my tutor, for long agone I have forgot to court. Besides, the fashion of the time is changed, how and which way I may bestow myself to be regarded in her sun-bright eye.
Win her with gifts, if she respect not words. Dumb jewels often in their silent kind more than quick words to move a woman's mind.
But she did scorn a present that I sent her.
A woman sometimes scorns what best contents her. Send her another. Never give her o'er. For scorn at first makes after love the more. If she do frown, 'tis not in hate of you, but rather to beget more love in you. If she do chide, 'tis not to have you gone, for why, the fools are mad if left alone. Take no repulse. Whatever she doth say, for get you gone, she doth not mean away. Flatter and praise, commend, extol their graces, though ne'er so black. Say they have angels' faces. That man that hath a tongue, I say, is no man, if with his tongue he cannot win a woman.
But she, I mean, is promised by her friends unto a youthful gentleman of worth, and kept severely from resort of men, that no man hath access by day to her.
Why, then I would resort to her by night.
Aye, but the doors be locked and the keys kept safe, that no man hath recourse to her by night.
What lets but one may enter at her window?
Her chamber is aloft, far from the ground, and built so shelving that one cannot climb it without apparent hazard of his life.
Why then, a ladder quaintly made of cords, to cast up with a pair of anchoring hooks, would serve to scale another hero's tower, so bold Leander would adventure it.
Now, as thou art a gentleman of blood, advise me where I may have such a ladder.
When would you use it, pray, sir? Tell me that.
This very night, for love is like a child that longs for everything that he can come by.
By 7 o'clock, I'll get you such a ladder.
But hark thee, I will go to her alone. How shall I best convey the ladder thither?
It will be light, my lord, that you may bear it under a cloak that is of any length.
A cloak as long as thine will serve the turn.
Aye, my good lord.
Then let me see thy cloak. I'll get me one of such another length.
Why, any cloak will serve the turn, my lord.
Well, how shall I fashion me to wear a cloak? I pray thee, let me feel thy cloak upon me. What letter is this same? What's here? To Sylvia. And here an engine fit for my proceeding. I'll be so bold to break the seal for once. My thoughts do harbor with my Sylvia nightly, and slaves they are to me that send me flying. Or could their master come and go as lightly, himself would lodge where senseless they are lying. My herald thoughts in thy pure bosom rest them, while I, their king, that hither them importune, do curse the grace that with such grace hath blessed them. Because myself do want my servants' fortune, I curse myself, for they are sent by me, that they should harbor where their love should be. I'm confused. Let me see here. Who's here? Sylvia, this night I will enfranchise thee. 'Tis so. Is the letter still going on? And here's the ladder for thy purpose. Why, Phaethon, for thou art Merup's son, wilt thou aspire to guide the heavenly car with thy daring folly burn the world? Wilt thou reach stars because thy shine on thee? Go, base intruder, overweening slave, bestow thy fawning smiles on equal mates, and think my patience more than thy desert is privilege for thy departure hence. Thank me for this more than all the favors which all too much I have bestowed on thee. But if thou linger in thy territories longer than swiftest expedition will give thee time to leave our royal court, by heaven, my wrath shall far exceed the love I ever bore my daughter or thyself. Begone, I will not hear thy vain excuse, but as thou lovest thy life, make speed hence.
And why not death, rather than living torment? To die is to be banished from myself, and Sylvia is myself. Banished from her is self from self, a deadly banishment. What light is light, if Sylvia be not seen? What joy is joy, if Sylvia be not by? Unless it be to think that she is by and feed upon the shadow of perfection. Except I be by Sylvia in the night, there is no music in the nightingale. Unless I look on Sylvia in the day, there is no day for me to look upon. She is my essence, and I leave to be, if I be not by her fair influence fostered, illumined, cherished, kept alive. I fly not death, to fly his deadly doom. Tarry I here, I but attend on death, but fly I hence, I fly away from life.
Okay. Great job, everybody. Good performances as always. And it was great participating with you now and the whole 2024. So we had a good year. And look forward to next year. Happy holidays, everybody, and I'll see you in the new year. Bye now.